the MMA podcast. And now, coming to the mic, your host, Jalen Walker.
Welcome to Pound for Pound, the MMA podcast. I'm your host, Jalen Walker. We have a lot to unpack today, as always. Huge fight card tonight. 2 titles are on the line. First, for the co-main, Valentina Shevchenko puts her women's flyweight belt on the line against the challenger, Jennifer Maia. And the main event, Figueiredo puts the men's flyweight title up against his challenger, Alex Perez, a Dana White's Contender Series alum. Big card. Last week, I had to tip my hat to the legend Paul Felder. Man, did he look good on a 5 days notice in that 5-round fight against Dos Anjos. Unfortunately, he did lose via decision to Dos Anjos, but boy, did Felder look fast. That fight was crowned Fight of the Night, which was well-deserved by the 2 veterans. Performance in the night bonus went to Sean Strickland for his TKO against Brendan Allen in round 2 of that fight. And the other performance bonus went to Chaos Williams for his vicious knockout over Abdul Razak. After that fight, Dana told Chaos that was one of the most brutal knockouts he's seen in a long time. McGregor versus Poirier is finally official. The bout will take place at UFC 257 on January 23rd. And UFC is finalizing a lightweight bout between Tony Ferguson and Charles Oliveira for UFC 256 on December 12th. Very excited for that fight as well. In bitter news, the UFC has officially released Anderson Silva after 14 years with the promotion. As you all know, Silva lost his final match with the UFC against Uriah Hall 3 weeks ago. It's very sad to see the Spider go, and thank you for everything. Also, the Contender Series has come and gone. This season was amazing with a record 37 contracts given out. We'll break it all down and much more. But first, support for Pound MMA podcasts comes from Manscaped, who's the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Are you looking for the perfect gift for your partner this holiday season? We have the perfect package for his perfect package. The Perfect Package 3.0 by Manscaped is the #1 recommended gift all year long. Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 3.0, which is the best men's below-the-belt grooming trimmer, which can also be used on any part of the body. Hairy chest or back? Look no further. Hair down there? The Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0 is designed to reduce cuts and make for a smooth trim. This 7,000 RPM trimmer has helped reduce manscaping accidents around the world. In addition, you'll find other liquid formulations inside the Perfect Package, like the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Ball Toner, and Reduced Chafing Boxer Briefs. These formulations are all vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, and paraben-free, so you know your manhood is in good hands. Save 20% with code POUND4POUND at manscaped.com. That's 20% plus free shipping with code POUND4POUND at manscaped.com. Give your testes the besties with Manscaped. All right, thank you, Manscaped. All right, today, my guest on the show is one of Israel's top prospects in the sport. He's a skilled fighter with a pro record of 6-0. He recently competed on Dana White's Contender Series on a 3 days notice, where he won via submission, receiving a UFC contract from Dana White. I'd like to introduce to the podcast, Natan Levy. Welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thank you very much for having me. How's it going?
Pretty good. Excited to talk with you. A big fan. Like what you're doing in the sport. So you were born in Paris, but you were raised in Israel. But you've been away from your family for about a year and a half. How has that transition been coming to Las Vegas and not seeing them and pursuing your career in MMA?
Yeah, I moved. I first came to Vegas 7 years ago, and I've been training here since. But I would, at first I lived in Israel, and I would come to the U.S. for training camps. When I got my athlete visa, I moved to the U.S., but I would visit Israel very often. I got all my family there, my nephews, my parents, and now because of COVID, it's been a year and a half since I've been home. And I'm focused. It's difficult to not see them, but of course I'm focused on training, and this is the only thing I can control right now, is being the best I can be. So I'm working very hard.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So when did you first travel to America to train for MMA? What year was that?
2013. I was a karate instructor in Israel, and I had a dream of pursuing a career in MMA. For a long time, it didn't seem realistic, but at some point, I just said, "F it, let's go for it. It's now or never," and I did it.
That's awesome. So you're fighting at a Syndicate MMA in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is obviously behind you with all the great fighters and that are training right now. A great gym with the likes of Roxana Modafferi, Joanna Calderwood, some other Contender Series fighter, Jordan Levitt and Sherrod Blackledge, who we had on the show a few weeks ago. You're coached by the great John Wood. What is it like being under his leadership and his mentorship with Syndicate MMA?
The leadership of John, it's something amazing. I would say I think some coaches have it easy. One day a mega athlete walks into their gym, is destined to be world champion in whatever it is he does, and so happens to land in their gym and start doing MMA. But here at Syndicate, even though I had a lot of voices telling me, "Oh, you should go to a gym with world champions," and so, I didn't listen. I felt like this was a good team atmosphere. I felt like back in the day when I joined, most of the team were amateurs. We had a few UFC fighters, but most were amateurs and very successful ones. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I wanted to be at that point. So I just followed John, to this point. And it's not only me, it's me and a few other fighters, which, like I said, I think it means more taking a few guys who really have zero experience in MMA, one from karate, one from wrestling, one from boxing.
Mm-hmm.
None of us
Exactly.
was a champion in that field, just average guys who trained before and turn us into UFC level fighters. I think that means a lot, and that says a lot about John Syndicate and the whole coaching staff here.
Yeah, and John's very good in technical breaking down fighters' fight style and helping them get to a point where they need to be. And I'm gonna break it down a little bit. But like with you, you're coming in with your karate background, but you have 3 submissions on your resume. So obviously he saw something in your wrestling, and now you guys are working towards that fight style. Because you have 3 decisions, 3 submissions, and 0 KOs. But you're pretty deadly striking also. So it's just to see what can come from your fighting style, and I'm excited to see. But mentioning your accolades, you have a third-degree black belt in karate, a black belt in kung fu, and this was all before your amateur debut. Where did you receive your black belt in karate and kung fu?
What's the question? Sorry.
Where did you receive your black belt in karate and kung fu?
I received my black belt in Kung Fu when I was 17, and my black belt in karate in Okinawa when I was 18. I spent 4 months there of very hard training, and by the age of 22, when I left for Vegas, I was a third degree black belt, and I had a few successful schools, and I closed them down, like I said, to pursue this dream. And like I said, I think it means a lot. I was just a karate guy, and here at Syndicate, I became a complete MMA fighter.
Exactly.
The submissions, they're not only because of my ground skills, but I think a lot of them start with like rocking opponents or them being scared of standing with me. And if needs be, of course, sometimes in my fight I got rocked and I took people down. So it's always good to have it. But I can't wait to show more of my striking.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see it. You were trying to show some of it off in your fight on Contender Series, but your opponent seemed like he wanted to grapple a lot, and I thought I was gonna get to see you open up a little bit more. But you guys took it to the ground and you finished him with the sub. But you're undefeated at 6-0, 3 subs, 3 decisions, with a current 6 fight win streak. Is there more pressure every time you fight since you're undefeated, or do you not even think about it? It's just something that's just not even there.
I try not to put pressure on myself with that undefeated thing. Everybody who fights is going to lose at some point. It's okay. Um, the only thing I try to do is I know I'm going to lose, but it's not today. every fight. I know someday I'm gonna lose, but not today.
Exactly.
And just do my best out there. I never think too much about the result. I know I don't try to finish or try to win in a certain way. I have my game plan, of course, but I would just try to put on the best performance I can put and do things right. When it's time to grapple, grapple. When it's time to strike, strike. Do everything well. And I feel like even if I lose, but I did my best and I fought well, I wouldn't be that disappointed like it happened.
Understand. But do you feel like you're a more well-versed fighter since you've come to Syndicate and you've opened up your range of abilities?
One more time, please.
Do you feel like ever since you came to Syndicate, you've opened your range of abilities more in instance to your ground game and more of your overall grappling and clinch work?
Of course, like I said, when I came to Syndicate, I was at zero ground game, zero wrestling. I didn't know what's an armbar, how to do it. Um, and I was just training with the pro team. John was kind enough to let me in, even though I was lacking. But I guess he saw some potential. And I would just need to survive on the ground. My job was to survive training, try and kick people until they either outstrike me or more easily out grapple me. And slowly from there, we built on, started learning moves. I would do jiu-jitsu twice a day, every day, no matter what other training I was doing. I could be doing 5 sessions a day. At least 2 had to be jiu-jitsu, and of course one MMA. And yeah, my whole skill set, I developed here and with my striking coach Jimmy Gibb,
Yep, yep.
and of course my karate background. But I had to change a lot. I had to adapt a lot, and I still do karate to this day. But the way I use it is a little different than the way it's practiced worldwide.
Understandable, understandable. So all of your pro fights, except for this last one on Contender Series, have come out of LFA, Legacy Fighting Alliance. What was your biggest advantage fighting with LFA, and what did you take from that organization?
I think the level of competition in LFA, no fight is easy.
Yep.
There's no, sorry, but there's no bums. There's no tomato cans to crush, to build the fighter up and feeding this guy to that guy. It doesn't work that way. It's an even playing field. You're matched up against somebody who has a similar record, a similar experience level, which should be high. And every fight is a fight. And I think that built me, every challenge you overcome, whether it be in training or in fighting, makes you stronger. And I feel like those challenges have made me stronger way faster than just taking some local fights at some local show against some guys that have been training for only a couple of years. I think that wouldn't have done me any favors,
Understandable.
having my record.
Yep, yep. And a lot of fighters I've talked to, they've said the same thing about LFA. It brought a level of competition that they needed to excel their skill set and their talent, and LFA was able to give that to them. And that's great that you were able to take advantage of that and learn from it and build. And it obviously got you to this certain point. But we're gonna get into the more. But it's crazy because you were supposed to fight with LFA, correct, before your Contender Series fight, or was that a different organization? That was LFA, right?
Yeah, I was supposed to fight Bruno Souza,
Yep.
who fought last night and looked great, actually. I was really excited for this fight because he's Lyoto Machida's protege,
Yep. Exactly.
and I'm a karate guy, so it was going to be Cobra Kai showdown. And I was excited for it. Obviously something better came up,
Yep.
but I would still love to fight him one day. But I'm very happy for him as a fellow karate guy, and also his opponent was very disrespectful. I was rooting for him. I was clapping alone at my home when he won. So really, I was happy for him, and I hope he gets to the UFC soon so we can fight there.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of respect for him.
Sounds like that would be a really good fight. But yeah, we'll break it down. We'll get into that more because that was crazy that the way that played out. How you got the call and then you just came for Contender and just had to put that fight on hold for now. Um, but so yeah, like you were saying, you have a karate background and you weren't a wrestler. But you kind of remind me of Wonder Boy, not exactly like his fighting style, but more of his discipline, that karate discipline, like the mental aspect of it, the regimen, the discipline, just be able to keep that mindset in the fight. And I can kind of see that in you, and you can see it in your face when you fight.
Yes, thank you. It's a compliment to be, compared to such a great fighter. Yeah, I like Wonderboy a lot. I like his style. We fight different, but
Yep,
we do some things maybe a little bit similar. And but most important than that is really, like you said, the discipline, the mindset that karate brings you. Then it doesn't matter if you kick a little bit more of an angle, less range, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. What really matters is the mindset.
exactly. And it's really interesting to see more karate's or more fighters coming from that karate background, because it's not that common in today's UFC anymore. You have your old school guys, and you have youths and a few others, but you got more people coming in with that pure wrestling background or that Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So do you feel like you have an advantage coming in with that karate background, and now that you're developing all these other skills?
Yeah, I think I know that karate by itself is not enough, and of course you got to have the boxing, some Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling. Um, Obviously, the ones who came from a wrestling background, I think, have the most success right now in the UFC. But I think also it's a mindset thing, and they're very mentally strong. They're used to hard training, uh, very athletic, and they have skills that adapt very well to MMA. But also, I think the fact that I come from a karate background means that I do something people haven't seen before. So when I fight somebody after I trained with 100 Muay Thai fighters and 100 boxers, of course every fighter is different, but I've seen most of what he's gonna do. When I do something, unless you've trained with karate guys, you're usually not gonna see what I can do prior. So I think when people fight me, they're gonna feel more uncomfortable than when I fight with them.
Understandable. So as we were mentioning, 2 days before your Contender Series fight, you were supposed to fight with another promotion, but now instead you're sitting here with a big fat UFC contract. Were you confident in taking the fight with the UFC on such short notice, or did you feel like you were taking a gamble, taking it on just a couple days?
You mean about the fight I had?
Yeah, on Contender Series. Do you feel like it was a gamble taking that fight on such short notice?
Look, life is a gamble, and long ago already I decided I'm going all in. And sometimes you need to be a little bit calculated. Is it the right fight? Um, you know, I'm gonna sign with the UFC soon. I need to be winning. I never like picked and choose my fight, like I said, but you're always thinking, is it the right time to fight? Um, am I well trained enough in this area to fight that guy? And you know, you do all this to get to the opportunity to show your skills in the UFC, run contenders. And when you get that opportunity, you don't say no. You say yes and you do it, and you give it your best. And if it wasn't good enough, I'll see you next year.
Yep, exactly. And on your sake, it was good enough. You defeated Shaheen Santana on week 9 of Dana White's Contender Series via arm triangle choke. Santana was also undefeated going into this fight, but you were the one that came out with a clean record. First of all, how did you feel going into the fight, and were you confident you were going to get the sub?
Um, I wasn't confident I'm gonna get the sub. I was confident I was gonna win, and I knew I could sub him. Like that record of him submitting 5 people, it doesn't really impress me.
Exactly.
Um, I got a lot of subs in my amateur career, in my pro career. I subbed, jiu-jitsu competitors in tournaments. Of course, I had to be cautious. He's a dangerous guy, but never for a moment did I think I couldn't submit him.
Yep.
and I went for it. If I would have doubted it, I wouldn't have went for it.
Yeah, and that's the mindset that comes with karate too. You can't have any doubt. You got to put all of your mental strength into knowing that you will succeed and you will achieve that goal. And that's what I was talking about. I see with you and Wonderboy and some other fighters. But like we were also saying, your opponent was shooting for the grappling, but you look like you wanted to strike a little bit more. Were you trying to show off that stand up more to impress Dana? Because you obviously you don't have any KOs. You had 2 subs and 3 decisions going into that fight. Were you trying to get the knockout?
Um, I was trying to show like my stand up. I knew at some point it's gonna go to the ground. I knew I couldn't go crazy with the ground and pound in the first round because he's gonna be fresh and throw a lot of submissions. But really, for me, the moment I stepped in there, it was kill or be killed.
Yep.
It was throw everything at him, and whatever will be will be. And that's what I did when we were on the feet. I was throwing whatever I could when we were on the ground. Like I said, first round I had to be a little bit cautious, but where I could, I was throwing. And then second round, third round, I knew he was going to be gassed, and I knew I can start throwing bombs everywhere. And that's what I did until he was, until I cooked him for 2.5 rounds and got the sub.
Yep. And it was a very clean submission, in my opinion. It was very enjoyable to watch you fight that fight. But are you content at competing at lightweight, or do you think you want to go down to 155?
I'm gonna stay at 55 for now. Feel
Okay.
pretty good, and cutting down to 45 is still doable, but it was getting so hard. I feel like I'm just more healthy and stronger at 55.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to get into a situation like Mike Perry is in, where he literally couldn't cut any more weight. Like he couldn't sweat. Like that's pretty insane that he got to a point to where his body just literally stopped sweating. There was nothing he could do. And it's very interesting. But yeah, it'd be best probably if you can get healthy and then get down to that weight gradually
Yeah,
instead of just
I'm not sure how professional Mike Perry is, but I never missed weight, but I just don't want to get there.
yeah.
And of course now I got the UFC PI, which is gonna help me make weight. And we did a bunch of tests, and they're gonna tell me if they think I should go back to 45 or stay at 55. But everybody right now is talking about 55. Me, my team, the PI.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be a good fit.
Let me take you back. Let me take you back for a second. So what you were just mentioning, what the UFC does is they run tests with you to see if your body's capable and healthy enough to perform at that weight class. Is what you're saying, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Have those tests came back at all, or anything?
Uh, they came back, but I'm still waiting, to finish all the tests, and then we're gonna sit down and review everything from my VO2 max, my heart rate zones, my body mass index, my max strength, how fast can I get strong, like how long does it take me to reach maximal strength, and a bunch of other things. Um, so it's like I got a bunch of mad scientists around me, um, putting me through tests to make me a better athlete, which is awesome.
Yeah, and that's what the UFC gives you, man. When you're with the UFC, they take full, complete control and care of your health, and you see it on embedded. You see it from fighters talking about it in interviews. They're very in depth with it, and that's awesome to see. That you're taking the steps to see where you could fall. But I'm excited to see you at 155. You're a dynamic fighter. You got a lot of potential. When can we expect you back in the octagon? I know you want to try to get back to Israel to visit your family. But after that, when do you think? Next year sometime? Summer? When do you think?
I think I'm gonna have to wait a little bit with the family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, I want to take advantage of the PI and the training,
Exactly.
and I feel good. I fought recently before the contenders fight. I fought in the contenders fight. I really want to stay active because before that I haven't fought in a year and a half. So yeah, I'd love to just fight as soon as possible, and then go visit my family.
Awesome. Do you have anybody that you want to fight in particular? Anybody you want to call out or anything?
Nope.
Understandable. So before I let you go, who do you got in tonight's co-main event and main event? Shevchenko versus Maia and Figueiredo versus Perez.
Um, First of all, I think Shevchenko is a huge favorite, and
19-1
it's hard to
odds.
bet against her.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, she is amazing, inspiring, and I think she's gonna win. Maia she's a tough girl. She's no
Yes.
joke, but I just think Shevchenko is a little bit too much for her. And same thing with Figueiredo. I think he's so aggressive, so strong, so big for that weight class. Um, you know, Perez is a tough dude. He's very game. He comes from a good team. So I think people count him out a little bit too easily. But in the end of the day, there's a reason why he's the underdog, and I'm betting for Figgy.
Nice. Yeah, there's gonna be some great fights tonight. It's stacked. Stacked card.
And
go ahead.
my friend Sasha from Syndicate MMA is fighting tonight.
Yes.
I think he's going to be fighting in the prelims, maybe first fight or second fight. I'm going to
Yes, she is fighting. I have it right here. Where is it at? I think it's in the early prelims. Yeah. He's fighting Luis Cosi, from the Cosi brothers. Yeah. Cosi was originally on Dana White's Contender series. So yeah, Sasha.
Exactly.
How do you pronounce his last name?
I don't want to butcher it. He's my boy, but I don't want to butcher it.
Palentnikov?
Palentnikov, I think.
Palentnikov. Okay. Sasha Palentnikov. He's the first fight of the early prelims, and those start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah. And he's an amazing athlete. Really, you don't want to miss his fight.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be definitely checking it out. I appreciate you coming on the podcast, Natan. Tell John Wood I said hello, and I want to get him on here sometime. But yeah, tell Sherrod I said hello, and all you guys. But be safe out there, and best of luck to you in your MMA career. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
See you later. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Natan Levy. Great guy. Great gym out there with Syndicate MMA. A lot of great fighters out there. Looking forward to see what he's going to do in the UFC. But yeah, Natan Levy, recent winner on Dana White's Contender series, and one of Israel's top prospects. But yeah, let's go ahead and break down last week's UFC 14 results. Kay Hansen won decision in round 3 against, Corey McKenna, my apologies, won via decision round 3 against Kay Hansen. Sean Strickland, as we said, got the fight of the night bonus against Brendan Allen with that second round TKO knockout. Ashley Yoder won round 3 decision against Miranda Granger. And then, as we know, Chaos Williams knocked out Abdul Razak and got that knockout bonus. And then for the main event, what a main event. Paul Felder versus Rafael dos Anjos. Rafael takes the dub in the decision. Some controversy as one of the judge blatantly gave one of the fight to Paul Felder, which even threw Paul Felder for a award win, as you can see on his face. But yeah, great fight. Paul Felder coming out on a 5 days notice looked absolutely phenomenal. Got to give it to the Irish Dragon. Legendary status right there. And congrats to Dos Anjos for coming back to lightweight and getting that dub. Welcome back to the division. All right. Also in the news, UFC 256, as I was saying, Tony Ferguson and Charles Oliveira are being scheduled for UFC 256 on December 12th, as Dana White told ESPN's Bokamota. I'm excited for that fight. It's not who I want Tony to fight, but we get to see Tony Ferguson, and I'll take it. All right, final week of the Contender Series. They closed up shop altogether for this season. We have 37 contracts. the first fight of the night was Victoria Leonardo. She won via ground and pound in the second round against Chelsea Hackett. Chelsea Hackett was a very high favorite there. She's coming in with a very well versed background in fighting. I was very excited to see this fight. Victoria, congratulations on the win. Chelsea, she did look very good, very quick. Her combinations were vicious, but just wasn't enough. And Victoria got that ground and pound and got the KO. Now this was a big fight for me because we've had both of these fighters on the show. Tucker Lutz versus Sherrard Blackledge. Blackledge is actually from the gym we were just talking with Syndicate, where Natan Levy is from. Sherrard Blackledge was defeated by Tucker Lutz, though, via unanimous decision in the third round. Tucker Lutz controlled the fight, most of the fight. They both looked gassed. Tucker Lutz was coming in with a pec injury. But yeah, Dana White gave him a chance. Tucker Lutz got his contract. So congrats, Tucker. Sherrard, hope to see you soon and get that contract into the UFC. That third fight was Gloria De Paula. She defeated Pauline Macias in third round decision, unanimous decision, actually. A great fight there. And then the co-main event was Nix Maximov against Oscar Cota. Nix Maximov was the highlight of the night for me for his interview. Like, that boy, you can tell he hangs out with the Diaz brothers. You can tell he's from there. They got the same attitude. They want to fight. They want to get it. Dana White did not give him a contract, but he did offer him a spot on the Ultimate Fighter, which I hope he accepts because he is a personality, and I cannot wait to see what he does in that house on the Ultimate Fighter if he does accept that offer. And for the main event, JB Buys versus Jacob Silva. Wow, Jacob Buys with a beautiful submission for the guillotine choke. But this is the problem. It was beautiful. Everything was going good, but Jacob Silva was not asleep. I apologize. JB Buys deserves this and everything, but Jacob Silva was definitely robbed. That man was not asleep. Right when the ref called it, he popped up, looked at him, and said, no, I'm good. It really sucks for Jacob Silva, but congrats to JB Buys. He was winning that fight still, but it sucks that he had to win it that way. All right. On to tonight's card. This is a crazy card tonight, guys. First of all, just we're starting off with Shogun, okay? As I said, Shogun versus Paul Craig, light heavyweight. This is a rematch between the dynamic light heavyweights that we saw almost a year ago to the day. Marcio Shogun Rua, it's 27-11-1. Shogun is an absolute legend of the sport, but his days as a young killer are long past. Fortunately, Shogun still hits very hard, and the Brazilian seems to have found his balance between aggression and caution, which has been forced to change as his career progressed. Shogun is coming to this bout as the 14th best fighter in the light heavyweight division. It is on a 2-fight win streak, with the third bout being a draw. In that draw, he fought his current opponent, Paul Craig. He has 21 wins by knockout, 1 by submission, and 5 by decision. Out of his 27 victories, 17 of them were by first round finish. In his first bout, Shogun found his best success on the mat. Craig's speed advantage and length on the feet proved a problematic combo, but Shogun is on a long-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He knows how to avoid the triangle and to sit at half guard and to land heavy shots. Plus, Craig may be comfortable on his back, but it's still tiring to cling from the bottom. So, from Shogun's point of view, he has the clinch wrestling. He has the ability to play it safe on the mat with Craig. But it's still, anytime you're on the mat, it's just, unless you got 100% control, you always gotta watch out for his submission. Shogun's going up against Paul, the Bear Jew Craig. That is his nickname, Bear Jew. Craig's current unbeaten streak is the best in the UFC, best of his UFC career. My apologies. And it's not an accident. Slowly but surely, Craig has been gaining confidence in his non-Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills, allowing him to resist the urge to pull guard and get smashed in the hopes of landing a triangle choke. Like I was saying, you always got to watch out for it. Craig is currently ranked number 15th in the light heavyweight division, right behind Shogun. He is also coming into this fight with a similar streak of two wins and 1 draw. He has 1 win by knockout, 12 wins by submission. He also has 9 first-round finishes, with 8 of those coming by submission. It's very difficult to deal with a taller, longer opponent who also has speed advantage. In the years since the last bout, Shogun has taken a bit more damage and grown even further from his prime. Meanwhile, Craig should enter his best years, so any edges for this fight might likely have only grown more significant. But yeah, the takeaways for this fight and my pick, we'll have to say this is a hard one, to be honest with you. But when these two last fought each other, Craig landed 51 strikes versus Shogun landing 25. For someone that is a primary submission artist, he came out strong, especially in that first round. Just taking into that account that fight from last year, I'm gonna have to go with Paul Craig. Shogun, I'm sorry, bud. You might be going 28-12 right here. I got bared you for this one. All right, on to the next fight. Caitlin Kukagin versus Cynthia Calvillo at women's flyweight. Caitlin, the blondie fighter, she's a crafty striker from range. She's really improved the last couple of years at her strike game. She can land that power more often. In addition, she's grown more active with her takedowns, making for a well-rounded threat. Caitlin, she's coming off a knockout loss to Jessica Andrade back in October, but as I can say, that's Jessica Andrade. As the second best fighter in the women's flyweight division, she's had a rough 3 bouts in 2020 with a 1-2 record so far. She has 2 wins by knockout, 1 by submission, and 11 by decision. As you can see, she typically likes to take her fights to distance. Fortunately, I think Caitlin, she's gonna have her low kicks. She's gonna have to be careful though. Calvillo has repeatedly scored takedowns off of caught kicks, and she's really good at trapping opponents on the bottom for long periods of time. So that would not be good for Caitlin in that instance. But for Cynthia Calvillo is an expert grappler, fantastic in scrambles and ultra dangerous from top position. She showed improved kickboxing in her last match, largely picking apart the supposedly sharper boxer in Jessica Ai for the majority of the 5 rounds. Calvillo is currently on a 3-fight win streak and is ranked as the 4th best fighter in the women's flyweight division. Her most recent bout came back in June against Jessica Ai with a decision victory. She has 2 wins by knockout, 3 by submission, and 4 by decision. She also has 2 first-round finishes via submission. Calvillo may have to be a bit more proactive with their takedown attempts, and she cannot hang back and wait to catch a kick. The thing about it is that Caitlin, she fights very smart and can be behind the punch, and she has a game plan. So I think Calvillo is going to have very good reaction to her shots and can counter. And if she can catch those kicks, I think she'll be good. Get it to the ground, get her against the cage, just grind. But I don't think that'll be enough. Calvillo has excellent opportunity to knock off Caitlin here, but she has fallen victim to powerful strikers such as Andrade and Shevchenko recently. However, she is not considered better than these fighters yet, so that is to be determined. I'm going to have to go with Caitlin, the blonde fighter, for this fight via decision. All right, up next, Mike Perry versus Tim Means. First off, Mike Perry, get your stuff together, bro. As you even heard Natan Levy say, man, Perry missed weigh-in by a lot. That's all I'm going to say. Coming in at 175.5 pounds, I believe it was. He then dabbed on the scale and later told reporters, I came for the fight, not the scale. What? What is going on? I don't even want to talk good about this man because of everything he's done. All I'll say is he's a decent athlete. He's got serious natural power, fairly iron chin. However, he's failed to develop much beyond that. His power punching remains unfortunately flat-footed, though at least Perry has been more willing to demonstrate his genuine grappling skill. We'll see what he does. I really don't care, to be honest with you. He doesn't want to take the sport serious, so I'm not going to take him serious. But yeah, we'll see what happens. He has his wife who's pregnant cornering him. He doesn't have any coaches. He did the same thing last time. But yeah, he's fighting Tim, the Dirty Bird Means. And I hope Tim Means knocks him out. Is all I'm going to say. Means is coming into this matchup after a decision win back in August. In that bout, he redeemed himself after a tough loss against Daniel Rodriguez the fight before. This guy has 19 wins by knockout, 5 by submission, and 6 by decision. Out of his 30 wins, he has 17 first-round finishes with a combination of both knockout to submission, and I'm hoping he's going to add an 18th one tonight. For this fight, I think Means is going to take it. Both of these have had sex rebounding from tough losses, but Means is very solid. His battle will most likely stay standing, and I think Means is going to have the counter ability in the striking ability to knock Mike Perry out in the first round, or it's going to be a decision. All right, at the co-main event, we got Valentina Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia. It's crazy because Valentina Shevchenko's sister is fighting on this card tonight, Antoni Shevchenko, and she's fighting on the prelims against Irene Lipsky. Antonino Shevchenko is 8-2-0, and she fights at women's flyweight, same division her sister fights at. So maybe, hopefully, Shevchenko goes off, she retires, and her sister comes up. But who knows? But yeah, Shevchenko is a surgeon though. She's a legend at 19-3. Everyone knows Shevchenko, the Bullet. There's really not much I need to say about her. She's the favorite, 19-1 tonight against Jennifer Maia. Shevchenko is currently on a 5-fight winning streak. The women's flyweight champion recently won against Caitlin Kukogan via TKO back in February of this year. She has 6 wins by knockout, 7 by decision, 7 by submission, 6 by decision. She's taken care of just about every fighter in the book except for Amanda Nunes, losing to her both times via decision. But those are some battles. It's hard to see what Maia's going to bring, but Maia's 18-6-1. She's a product of Shoot Boxing Academy. Maia's aggressive puncher who works well in combinations. She got solid physicality, and the Brazilian has finished half of her professional fights with victories, or has finished half of her professional wins with. She's finished half of her victories. Like, knocked them out or submitted them. Sorry, I typed that pretty backwards. Maia's coming into this fight after a submission victory against Joanne Catterwood back in August. She has won 3 out of her last 5 fights dating back to mid-2018, and that is also when she joined the UFC. She has 4 wins by knockout, 5 by decision, 5 by submission, 9 by decision, and out of her 18 victories, she has 6 of them ending with the first round, both by a combined effort of knockout and submissions. I'm really worried for Jennifer Maia tonight. Maia has been looking excellent, but I don't think she's going to have enough to stop the brute power and strength and speed and agility of the great Bullet, Valentina Shevchenko. I'm going to take Valentina Shevchenko wins via TKO. All right, now for the main event. Second title fight. Valentina Shevchenko is going to be defending hers at women's flyweight, and then Deiveson Figueiredo will be defending his at flyweight against Alex Perez, and Dana White Contender Series alum. Figueiredo is currently the flyweight champion and is also on a 4-fight winning streak. His most recent bout this year had him facing Joseph Benavidez, my apologies, 2 times in a row after the issues with weight in the first fight withholding him from the belt. However, he won both events easily with a TKO and then a submission. So technically, Figueiredo could have been his second title defense. But since that first fight with Benavidez, he did not make weight, so he didn't get the title. Second fight, submitted him, got it. This is his first title defense fight. Figueiredo is one of the most dangerous talents in the entire sport. He has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which he used quite a few times in his career, and he hits harder than any flyweight in the sport's history. Maybe John Liker can compare with the power of Figueiredo when he was a flyweight, but that's about it. If Figueiredo can't finish Perez by round 3, chances are he will lose the belt, though. But if Figueiredo does win with this fight, he could be the flyweight star the UFC is looking for. Alex Perez comes into this fight at 24-5-0. Perez came to the UFC off of the Contender Series in 2017, where he submitted with Anaconda choke his opponent midway through round 1. He finished off the year by submitting Anaconda choke with a submission specialist, Carlos John Day Thomas, at 1 minute and 54 seconds of round 2 in his UFC debut. We got to see a little more of him this time around. Though it was pretty similar to his performance, we knew we had a wicked grappler that can wrestle incredibly well on our hands. Next, Perez defeated Eric Shelton via unanimous decision before KOing Jose Torres at 3 minutes and 34 seconds of round 1. Perez is stepping into this fight being ranked the 4th best fighter in the flyweight division. He is currently on a 3-fight winning streak, which includes his last bout with a TKO victory over Formiga. Formiga is the only one to hand Figueiredo his loss back in 2019. He has 5 wins by knockout, 7 by decision, and 12 by he has 5 wins by knockout, 7 by submission, and 12 by decision. Out of his 24 victories, he has 11 first-round finishes with a combined effort of knockouts and submissions. He's really been putting it all together lately. His wrestling is great. His grappling is even better. And he has a very good striking background. Perez has some work to do if he wants to knock out Figueiredo. He's a solid technical striker and also will use the ground game to his advantage. With that being said, Figueiredo is arguably the better striker, I think, and is just good on the ground. And his recent submission victory over Benavidez, that speaks volume. And if he can submit him, he can submit just about anybody. Overall, this one appears to be an early exit, and I think Figueiredo wins via TKO. Man, what an exciting card tonight. What an exciting week for UFC this past week. We got a few more events coming up. We got UFC 255 tonight. Very excited. And then next week we got Blades versus Derek Lewis, which I'm super pumped for. Then after that, we got Hermanson versus Holland. And then coming up December 12th, as I was saying, we got UFC 256 with Jared Vandera, who is also on my podcast, coming in. Technically right now it says he's the main event, which is gnarly to see this. And it has Junior Dos Santos as the co-main event. So I'm going to have to message him and talk to him about this. But that night, that's when Tony Ferguson is. So maybe he'll be the co-main event. But I'm excited. A lot of UFC to look forward to. Before I go, I just want to say again, save 20% plus free shipping with code pound for pound at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code pound for pound at manscaped.com. Go ahead and go support Manscaped. It helps us out. But yeah, guys, that was episode 21 of Pound for Pound MMA podcast. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'm your host, Jalen Walker. Thanks, guys. See ya.